6 Stoic brutal rules. To become emotionless. Secrets. Control your emotions. Modern Stoicism. Emotions are an integral part of our human experience. They can motivate us, drive us to achieve, and connect us with others. But what happens when emotions take control of us instead of the other way around? In today's fast-paced world, where stress, frustration, and anxiety are ever present, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by negative emotions. How do we regain control when anger, fear, or sadness seem to dictate our actions? This is where modern Stoicism offers profound wisdom. Stoic secrets teach us how to manage our emotions, cultivate resilience, and make rational decisions even in the face of life's most challenging moments. Stoicism isn't about suppressing feelings, but rather about mastering them, transforming emotional chaos into clarity and inner peace. In this video, we'll dive into 6 brutal Stoic rules that can help you achieve emotional mastery, providing you with the tools to navigate life with emotional control, strength, and unwavering focus. By embracing these principles of modern Stoicism, you can build a life of purpose, balance, and emotional freedom. Welcome to Stoic Secrets. Let's unlock the power of Stoicism together and discover how to take control of our emotions in the modern world. Number 1. Don't love anyone too much. Love is one of the most powerful emotions we experience, capable of filling our lives with joy, fulfillment, and deep connections with others. The warmth of genuine relationships gives meaning and purpose, making love one of the most treasured aspects of life. However, love, while enriching, can also become a source of emotional strain if not properly managed. Over-attachment, whether in romantic relationships, friendships, or family bonds, can turn love into a destructive force. If we become too emotionally dependent on others for our happiness, love can bring pain, jealousy, and anxiety, as we rely on another person's actions and feelings for our emotional well-being. Modern Stoicism acknowledges love as essential to the human experience, but warns against letting it dominate our lives. Stoic philosophy does not reject love, but cautions against making it the foundation of our happiness. When we become overly attached, we risk losing our sense of self. True emotional strength lies in cultivating inner independence, maintaining control over our emotions, and nurturing relationships in ways that enhance rather than diminish our well-being. Marcus Aurelius, a key Stoic philosopher, emphasized that true strength is not found in emotional intensity, but in the ability to experience emotions without letting them take control. He wisely stated, "Love the people who are in your life, but do not love them in such a way that they become your reason for happiness." This teaches us that love should be free and unburdened, allowing us to connect with others without sacrificing our personal strength or peace of mind. In today's world, this Stoic lesson is more important than ever. Relationships are often influenced by unrealistic expectations and emotional dependencies. The pressure to find the one or seek constant validation can lead to unhealthy attachments. We may become so focused on others' affection that we neglect our own emotional needs, allowing ourselves to be defined by someone else's approval or actions. The Stoic solution is simple but profound. Love yourself first. Emotional self-sufficiency allows us to give love freely, without the fear of losing ourselves in the process. When we are comfortable with who we are, we can experience love in its purest form, without letting it become a burden. Practicing emotional detachment frees us from the chaos of others' moods and actions, helping us maintain emotional stability. This doesn't mean rejecting love or meaningful relationships, but it requires ensuring that our happiness isn't tied to someone else's fluctuating emotions. We need to keep our emotional balance intact, regardless of the external turbulence. In a world filled with unrealistic expectations and frequent disappointments, Stoic love helps us remain grounded and resilient. We can engage with others deeply, but never let their moods control our peace of mind. Stoicism teaches us to approach love with balance and self-awareness. We should embrace the deep connection that love brings, while protecting ourselves from becoming too emotionally vulnerable. By setting healthy boundaries and nurturing emotional independence, we can love without fear of emotional destruction. In doing so, we ensure that our happiness and peace are not dependent on external factors, but rooted in our inner strength. By practicing Stoic love, we navigate life's complexities with serenity, maintaining emotional health no matter what challenges arise. Number 2, care less, be less empathetic. In a world that often feels like it's teeming with emotional chaos, it's easy to be swept away by the emotions of those around us. We're conditioned to empathize, to feel the pain and joy of others, and to care deeply. But what if I told you that, according to the Stoics, caring less and being less empathetic could actually be one of the most powerful tools you can use to protect your emotional well-being? Empathy, in its purest form, is indeed a remarkable force for connection. It allows us to understand others and build meaningful relationships. But the Stoic secrets of emotional control suggest that excessive empathy, the kind that leaves you feeling drained, overwhelmed, or emotionally spent, is something we must approach with caution. Think about it. How often do you find yourself absorbing the emotions of the people around you, only to feel exhausted or out of balance afterward? Stoicism teaches that while it's important to care, we must also recognize when we're investing too much of ourselves. We cannot pour from an empty cup. By practicing selective empathy, we give ourselves the strength to decide where and to whom we allocate our emotional energy. It's not about shutting off our compassion, it's about choosing wisely. This practice helps us preserve our energy and protect our mental health. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized that it's not the emotions of others that we should focus on, it's our reaction to them that defines us. He wisely said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." Imagine how different your life would be if, instead of reacting to every emotional wave that crashes around you, you learn to pause, assess, and decide whether it's worth your emotional investment. The Stoics understood that if you allow yourself to constantly absorb the emotional burdens of others, you risk losing your own balance. Your emotional stability could be compromised, and over time, you might even lose sight of who you truly are. Now, I want you to think about a situation in your own life, maybe with a friend, a family member, or a colleague, where you felt emotionally drained by their issues. Was it necessary for you to feel everything they were feeling? Could you have offered your support without taking on their entire emotional load? That's the Stoic challenge: to offer support to others without letting their emotions hijack your own peace of mind. Selective empathy doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring in a way that's sustainable for your own emotional health. By setting boundaries, by deciding when and where to direct your emotional energy, you're not only protecting yourself, but also maintaining more meaningful, healthy, and long-lasting relationships. This is a lesson that's more relevant today than ever before, in a world that constantly demands our attention and emotional investment. Think about the times you've felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of emotional demands around you. What would it look like if you could choose, with intention, where to invest your empathy? If you could walk through life with emotional boundaries that allowed you to remain strong and serene while still being there for the people who truly needed you? That's the power of selective empathy, a key part of Stoic philosophy. By practicing this, we not only ensure our own peace of mind, but also become more effective in helping others in ways that are truly meaningful and sustainable. Stoic secrets like this remind us that it's okay to care, but it's just as important to care wisely, protecting ourselves from emotional burnout. The Stoics teach us that emotions, like waves, come and go, but it's up to us whether we let ourselves be carried away with them or remain grounded. By choosing how we engage with the emotions of others, we maintain our own emotional stability and cultivate healthier, more fulfilling connections. The next time you're confronted with an emotional situation, ask yourself, is this my burden to carry, or can I offer support without absorbing all of their pain? That simple question can be the key to mastering your emotional life and maintaining the peace of mind you deserve. Number 3. Cut toxic ties. In today's world, toxic relationships have a silent but powerful effect on our emotional and mental well-being. Whether with a friend, family member, or colleague, these relationships can drain our energy, overwhelm our thoughts, and prevent us from finding peace. The constant negativity, criticism, manipulation, and emotional turmoil cloud our judgment and make it hard to focus on what truly matters. Modern Stoicism offers a profound tool for dealing with this: the power to choose who we allow into our lives. We are not obligated to tolerate relationships that harm our emotional state or hinder our personal growth. Diogenes, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of selective relationships. He knew that the people we surround ourselves with influence our ability to achieve tranquility and wisdom, as toxic individuals can disrupt our peace through their actions and energy. In the context of modern Stoicism, cutting ties with toxic people is not an act of cruelty, but an essential form of self-respect. It's a choice rooted in personal care, preserving our emotional health, and focusing on relationships that support and nurture us. By practicing this form of emotional liberation, we make room for positive connections that contribute to our growth. The Stoic belief that we control who enters our lives teaches us that we are responsible for cultivating an environment that nourishes our peace and aligns with our values. Cutting toxic ties also helps refine our instincts. The Stoics advised paying attention to internal cues. If we feel drained or anxious around certain individuals, it may indicate that we are sacrificing our well-being to maintain the relationship. As Epictetus wisely put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Listening to our instincts helps us recognize when a relationship is no longer beneficial, allowing us to act in ways that preserve our peace. It's not about avoiding discomfort, but about refusing to let negativity infiltrate our lives. Spending time with toxic individuals pulls us away from inner peace and self-growth, clouding our judgment and undermining our confidence. In our fast-paced, interconnected world, distancing ourselves from draining individuals can feel difficult, whether it's a demanding colleague, a manipulative family member, or a friend who thrives on drama. However, the modern Stoic teaches us that setting boundaries, even at the risk of confrontation, is necessary for our well-being. Seneca said, "He who is not a good servant will not be a good master," which applies to relationships as well. If we cannot govern our emotional environment, how can we expect to control our reactions in the face of life's trials? At first, cutting ties with toxic people can feel uncomfortable, but it is a form of liberation. We create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections that help us grow emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's not about being cold or distant, but about respecting our peace and building a life of tranquility, as the Stoics advocated. Stoicism teaches us that we are the masters of our fate, and by removing toxic influences, we regain the strength to navigate life free from negativity. Cutting toxic ties is not just about limiting exposure to harmful individuals, but about taking control of the environment that shapes our emotions. Our peace of mind is precious and must be protected. Modern Stoicism emphasizes that by choosing who enters our lives, we align ourselves with people who respect and support our emotional growth. This sense of serenity enriches our lives, paving the way for fulfilling connections grounded in mutual respect, shared values, and emotional health. By distancing ourselves from those who drain us, we create space for relationships that nurture our growth and deepen our sense of peace. To join our community, we want to hear from you. Comment, "I choose my peace" below if you believe in the power of cutting toxic ties and cultivating relationships that support your emotional and personal growth. Your participation helps us create a supportive and respectful space where everyone can thrive, free from negativity. Together, we can build a community that nurtures emotional resilience and fosters deeper, more meaningful connections. Number 4. Hold back emotions and opinions. In a world that often glorifies unrestricted self-expression, Stoicism offers a profound counterpoint: the power of restraint. In today's culture, where people are constantly encouraged to share their thoughts, feelings, and opinions without hesitation, Stoicism stands as a reminder that strength often lies in the ability to control what we say and when we say it. It's not that Stoics are advocating for total silence or the suppression of emotions, but rather they emphasize the importance of choosing when, where, and how to express ourselves. The idea is that not every opinion needs to be voiced, and not every emotion demands an immediate reaction. In fact, Stoicism teaches that there are times when silence can be a more powerful and effective response than speaking impulsively. This concept of restraint is not about stifling our true selves. Rather, it's about preserving our emotional energy and protecting ourselves from unnecessary turmoil. In a world filled with constant distractions and emotional triggers, we can often find ourselves caught up in the need to express our emotions, whether it's venting frustration, defending our beliefs, or reacting to every slight. However, constantly reacting to external events and sharing every passing thought can leave us emotionally drained and vulnerable to judgment. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This statement underscores the idea that emotional stability is rooted within us, not dependent on external validation. By practicing emotional restraint and resisting the urge to constantly react, we create space for our own inner peace, independent of the opinions or actions of others. In modern life, this Stoic principle is more relevant than ever. In an age where social media encourages instant reactions, opinions are constantly shared, and emotions are broadcasted across digital platforms, it's easy to get swept up in the need for constant self-expression. The digital age encourages us to react quickly, to share our thoughts with the world, and to seek validation from others. However, the Stoic perspective reminds us that this often leads to unnecessary conflict, judgment, and vulnerability. By choosing silence or thoughtful restraint, we protect ourselves from the chaos that comes with seeking approval or engaging in emotional flare-ups. This gives us the opportunity to maintain emotional balance, allowing us to respond more thoughtfully to life's unpredictable challenges. Moreover, silence isn't just about withholding words. It's about being mindful of the energy we expel. In moments of conflict or disagreement, it's easy to react impulsively, saying things we might later regret. However, by pausing and taking a moment to reflect before speaking, we gain the ability to respond more intentionally. This form of self-control not only shields us from the influence of others' opinions, but also strengthens our inner resolve, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with greater emotional resilience. This practice of restraint is a cornerstone of modern Stoicism. It teaches us that not every emotion needs an outlet, and not every opinion demands a platform. Sometimes the most powerful action is to remain composed and centered, allowing time to pass before deciding whether a response is necessary at all. In doing so, we not only protect our emotional well-being, but also empower ourselves to become the masters of our emotional world. By choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, we preserve our sense of agency and mental clarity, even in the face of external noise. Number 5. Set boundaries. Be less available. In today's fast-paced world, where everyone seems to demand a piece of your time and energy, it's easy to fall into the trap of being constantly available. You're bombarded with messages, emails, phone calls, and requests from people needing your help or attention. Initially, it may feel good to be helpful or admired, but over time, you can start feeling drained and emotionally overwhelmed. You might have found yourself in this position, but what if there was a way to break free from this cycle? What if you could reclaim your emotional health by setting boundaries and learning to be less available? This is a powerful Stoic secret that can help you live a more peaceful and purposeful life, the art of setting clear boundaries. Stoicism isn't about withdrawing from the world or living in isolation. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. The Stoic mindset teaches the importance of preserving your own well-being so that you can show up as your best self for others. Reflect on how often you've said yes when you really meant no, simply to avoid feeling guilty or disappointing someone. The Stoics would warn against this tendency. They understood that time is a finite resource. You only have so much energy each day, and once it's gone, it's gone. By constantly giving in to the demands of others, you risk losing your peace of mind and emotional reserves, leaving you with nothing for your personal growth or goals. Learning to say no is essential, and the Stoics believed it's a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about asserting control over your own life and protecting your time and emotional health. Saying no doesn't mean you're being selfish. It's about choosing where to invest your energy. When you decline one thing, you make space for what truly matters to you. In this way, you regain control over your emotional state, focus on what aligns with your values, and take charge of your well-being. Consider the story of an entrepreneur who, early in their career, tried to please everyone. They took on too much work, helping clients, employees, and even friends, all in the hopes of being liked. But over time, this overextension drained their emotional energy, leaving them burnt out. Eventually, they realized they needed to change. They started setting firm boundaries and saying no to requests that didn't align with their goals or values. Although difficult at first, embracing the Stoic principle of saying no allowed them to focus on what mattered most. Their emotional health improved, productivity soared, and they made real progress toward their long-term goals without burning out. Saying no to the unnecessary opened the door to the essential. Ask yourself, are you constantly overextending to please others? Are you letting people dictate how you spend your time to the point where you have no time for yourself? If you haven't set clear boundaries, you may be giving others control over your emotional state. What if you made a conscious effort to protect your time more fiercely? What could you achieve by focusing on what truly matters and letting go of distractions? The beauty of this Stoic principle is that it's not just about saying no to others, but about saying yes to yourself. By setting boundaries, you step away from the chaos and live intentionally, focusing on your needs and values. Setting boundaries isn't about being cold or unkind. It's about being honest and respectful to both yourself and others. This practice nurtures healthier relationships where your time, energy, and emotional well-being are valued. The real gift of setting boundaries isn't just the peace and clarity you create for yourself, but also the space it provides for others to respect your needs. Boundaries allow you to show up as your best self, more focused, more grounded, and more capable of contributing to the people and causes that matter most to you. The Stoic secret of boundary setting empowers you to live a life of balance and fulfillment, where your time and energy are always put to their highest use. And when you live with intention, the results are transformative. Number 6. Prioritize yourself. Be assertive. In the teachings of Stoicism, one of the most powerful and often misunderstood lessons is that in order to truly serve others, we must first serve ourselves. This principle does not advocate for selfishness, but stresses the importance of self-care as the foundation for all meaningful relationships. Our emotional and psychological well-being are essential not just for our own growth, but also for our capacity to positively impact those around us. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This profound statement highlights the necessity of self-awareness and self-respect as fundamental components of personal freedom. If we are to contribute meaningfully to the lives of others, we must ensure that we have the emotional strength to do so, and this begins with taking the time to reflect on our own needs, setting healthy boundaries, and asserting our limits when necessary. Whether in personal relationships or professional environments, assertiveness is a crucial tool for maintaining emotional balance. It is through clear and unapologetic communication of our needs, wants, and limitations that we prevent the build-up of resentment, frustration, and burnout, emotions that often arise when we neglect our own well-being in favor of others. Assertiveness, from a Stoic perspective, is not about aggression or selfishness, but about finding the courage to express what we need for our own health and stability without fear of judgment or guilt. The Stoics believed that emotional strength is not about suppressing or denying feelings, but about the discipline of managing those emotions in a way that aligns with our deepest values and priorities. By honoring our own needs and establishing clear boundaries, we not only protect our own mental health, but also lay the foundation for more authentic and empathetic interactions with others. In the context of modern life, Stoicism provides a practical framework for navigating the often overwhelming demands of the world. In a society that frequently encourages us to give without limit, to sacrifice our own needs for the sake of others, the Stoic idea of self-prioritization is a powerful antidote. It serves as a reminder that if we do not protect our emotional energy, we risk depleting ourselves to the point where we are no longer capable of offering meaningful support to those around us. By practicing assertiveness and placing ourselves at the center of our well-being, we create the space necessary to maintain our emotional resilience. This allows us to be more present, more focused, and ultimately more effective in our interactions with others. Furthermore, embracing this Stoic principle encourages us to make decisions that reflect our personal values, not just the demands of others or external pressures. Standing firm in our convictions requires courage, but it also builds a deeper sense of self-worth and self-respect. These are the very qualities that enable us to cultivate strong, authentic relationships with others. In today's fast-paced world, where it seems like we are constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, prioritizing ourselves may seem counterintuitive, even selfish. However, by practicing self-care and asserting our needs, we are actually reinforcing our capacity to help others in a sustainable way. As the great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded us, take a moment to examine the situation. What is there in it that is new or extraordinary? Nothing. It's a common occurrence, the same as anything else, so do not let it overwhelm you. In a modern context, this advice can help us keep perspective amidst the demands of our busy lives. The key to handling the constant pressure of work, family, and social obligations is not to succumb to overwhelm, but to remain grounded in our own emotional center. By embracing the practice of assertiveness and prioritizing ourselves, we prevent burnout and create a sustainable balance that allows us to continue supporting others without losing our own sense of self in the process. The Stoic principle of prioritizing oneself is about creating a life where we are not only capable of helping others, but also able to do so in a way that is healthy, balanced, and rooted in self-respect. By cultivating this practice, we protect our emotional health and build stronger, more respectful relationships, where both parties feel heard, valued, and understood. This Stoic approach is not about emotional detachment or withdrawing from others, but about building a solid emotional foundation that allows us to offer our best selves without sacrifice. In the end, true emotional strength comes not from denying our own needs, but from the discipline of caring for ourselves in a way that empowers us to care for others. You've just taken a huge step forward on your path to self-mastery and embracing the Stoic principles of emotional strength. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below with the tagline, "Own your peace, set your boundaries," to let us know you're committed to setting boundaries and taking care of your emotional health. Keep going. The transformation is happening, and you're on the right track. Through these 6 Stoic principles, we learn to create a separation between ourselves and our emotions, thereby avoiding being controlled by external factors. Each principle offers a lesson that strengthens our inner resilience, removes negativity, and maintains calm in the face of challenges. This is the path to living a life free from emotional control, liberated from the emotional attachments we often face. B. Stoic principles for emotional mastery. The rules above help you build a strong foundation for mastering your emotions, but how can you sustain this state in the long run? Now let's continue exploring the Stoic principles that you can apply to your life to master your emotions and live with tranquility. Don't miss these insights, as they can completely transform the way you interact with the world and with yourself. Number 1. Amor fati. Amor fati, which translates to love of fate, is one of the most profound teachings within Stoicism, urging us to embrace all aspects of life, both the joys and the hardships, with an open heart. It is not about passively accepting everything that happens, but rather about actively choosing to love whatever comes our way, even the difficult and seemingly undesirable moments. In a world that often promotes avoiding pain or seeking to control every circumstance, Stoicism presents a radical shift in perspective. Instead of resisting adversity or lamenting over misfortunes, we are encouraged to accept them as essential parts of our personal journey. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote underscores the essence of amor fati. We cannot control the events that unfold in our lives, but we can choose how we perceive and respond to them. By practicing amor fati, we learn not only to tolerate, but to truly welcome challenges as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. In modern life, where so many of us seek to avoid discomfort and chase after convenience, this Stoic principle becomes increasingly important. Whether we face setbacks in our careers, difficulties in relationships, or personal health challenges, the natural human tendency is to resist or resent these experiences. But through the lens of amor fati, these challenges are no longer seen as obstacles, but as integral parts of our path, each one offering valuable lessons that contribute to our development. For instance, a job loss or a failed relationship can seem devastating, but from a Stoic perspective, they offer the chance to reflect on what truly matters, reassess our goals, and even grow in resilience. By embracing the unpredictability of life, we allow ourselves the freedom to experience life fully without the weight of regret or unnecessary stress. When we practice amor fati, we stop wishing for things to be different and instead focus on making the most of the present moment, accepting it as it is. The power of this principle lies in the way it frees us from the constant battle against life's uncertainties. Instead of dwelling on what could have been or what we wish were different, we shift our energy towards making the most of the here and now. It teaches us that even the most uncomfortable or painful experiences can be seen as gifts in disguise, as they provide us with the strength and wisdom to navigate the future. The more we practice amor fati, the more we build emotional resilience, becoming less susceptible to the stresses and anxieties that often arise when life doesn't go as planned. In essence, we stop being victims of fate and become active participants in our own lives, realizing that every challenge is an opportunity for personal growth. Modern Stoicism encourages us to move beyond the illusion of control and accept that life is, by its very nature, unpredictable. We cannot shape every outcome, but we can control our mindset. By adopting amor fati, we embrace the idea that every twist and turn in life has a purpose, and instead of resisting it, we welcome it as part of our ongoing transformation. This shift in perspective allows us to find peace even in chaos, offering us the ability to maintain our inner calm and strength, regardless of what life throws our way. Ultimately, amor fati is not merely about enduring hardships. It's about learning to love them, understanding that they are the very experiences that make us who we are, and giving us the tools to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient individuals. Number 2, letting go. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by things beyond our control, past mistakes, future uncertainties, and the actions of others. If you've ever found yourself caught in a cycle of frustration or worry, trying to change something you can't, you've likely felt the emotional toll it takes. But what if there was a way to break free from this cycle? What if you could regain control of your emotional peace by letting go of things that hold you back? This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. In Stoicism, letting go isn't passive. It's an active choice to free ourselves from emotional burdens and mental exhaustion. The Stoics remind us that we can't control everything, no matter how much we may want to. We can't change the past or predict the future, and the actions of others are outside our control. What we can control, however, is how we respond to life's challenges. Peace isn't found by trying to change the uncontrollable. It's found in accepting it. Imagine holding onto a heavy rock, thinking that if you don't grip it tightly, it will fall. In reality, the more you hold on, the more it weighs you down. Letting go is not about weakness or giving up. It's about understanding that some things simply aren't meant to be controlled. Consider the story of a young entrepreneur who, early in her career, became consumed with controlling every detail of her startup. She obsessed over every review, every competitor, and every decision, leaving her emotionally drained. It wasn't until she encountered Stoic teachings that she began practicing the art of letting go. She stopped stressing over uncontrollable things like customer complaints and focused instead on what she could change. improving her products and responding positively. As she let go of anxiety about the outcomes and focused on her actions, her business thrived and her peace of mind returned. Letting go means releasing attachment to specific outcomes. It's about acknowledging that you can put in the effort, but the results are not always in your hands. Life doesn't always go according to plan, and when we try to force things, we only resist the flow of life. By letting go, you give yourself the freedom to live without fear or frustration over things beyond your control. Have you ever felt trapped by the belief that if you work harder, the result will be perfect? Or perhaps you've spent hours regretting past decisions. How would it feel to let go of those burdens and trust the process? The key here is not to abandon your desires or efforts, but to release the need for control over the results. By practicing this Stoic secret of letting go, you build emotional resilience and clarity. Peace doesn't come from forcing life into a box. It comes from releasing the need to control what's out of your hands. Imagine how much lighter your life could feel if you could let go of past mistakes and future uncertainties. What if you stopped worrying about every possible outcome and simply trusted that things would unfold as they should? By adopting this mindset, you'll find that anxiety loses its grip and a deeper sense of calm and clarity emerges. Letting go isn't just about releasing the past or accepting uncertainty. It's about freeing yourself to live fully in the present, knowing that peace of mind comes from acceptance, not control. The true power of letting go is the freedom it offers. When you stop carrying the weight of things you can't change, you create space for growth, peace, and joy. Through this Stoic practice, you'll experience life with greater serenity, no longer burdened by past regrets or future fears. In that space, you'll find the emotional strength and clarity to move forward with confidence and purpose. Number 3. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, and it's one of the most powerful tools for gaining emotional mastery and living a life of clarity and composure. The practice involves regularly reflecting on our thoughts, feelings, and actions, helping us align our behaviors with our highest values. The Stoics believed that honest self-reflection is essential for understanding who we truly are. Socrates famously said, "Know thyself," which underscores the importance of introspection in cultivating wisdom. In modern Stoicism, self-awareness goes beyond recognizing our emotional states. It involves understanding the root causes of these emotions and learning how to regain control before reacting impulsively. By developing self-awareness, we can identify when emotions are influencing our thoughts and behaviors in unhealthy ways. For instance, when anger or frustration arises, self-awareness allows us to pause and reflect before reacting. This conscious pause is one of the greatest benefits of self-awareness, giving us the opportunity to observe our inner state and choose a more measured response. The Stoics saw this ability to reflect as a crucial component of emotional intelligence, which helps us face life's challenges with patience and insight. As we become more in tune with our thoughts and emotions, we can better understand what truly matters to us and act in alignment with our core values, rather than being swayed by temporary emotions or external pressures. Self-awareness also deepens our understanding of our personal values, making it easier to make decisions that reflect our true selves. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." When we understand who we are and what we stand for, our actions naturally align with our highest potential. This clarity of purpose empowers us, providing a solid foundation for decision-making and helping us stay true to our values, even in the face of challenges or temptations. Through self-awareness, we develop the ability to act intentionally, not out of fear, impulse, or external pressure, but from a place of wisdom and clarity. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions and external demands are constant, practicing self-awareness can be difficult yet immensely rewarding. It requires the discipline to pause and check in with ourselves amid the chaos of daily life. Whether through mindfulness practices, journaling, or simply taking moments throughout the day to assess our emotional state, self-awareness allows us to identify patterns in our emotions and behaviors, giving us the opportunity to adjust before stress, anxiety, or frustration take hold. This practice isn't about judging ourselves, but observing our emotions with curiosity and understanding, which fosters personal growth. Regular self-reflection also helps us build emotional resilience. We begin to realize that emotions, while powerful, are temporary and manageable. They act as signals about our needs, desires, and values. By observing these emotions without being overwhelmed by them, we can make more thoughtful choices that align with our deeper wisdom. This ability to reflect and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively is key to maintaining composure during life's challenges. It also helps build stronger, more authentic relationships as we become better equipped to manage our own emotions and understand those of others. In a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, self-awareness serves as an anchor, grounding us amid external pressures and internal turmoil. By regularly reflecting on our thoughts and emotions, we can cultivate inner peace and clarity, making decisions that align with our values rather than being driven by fleeting emotions or the opinions of others. Embracing self-awareness as a Stoic practice allows us to live intentionally, making choices that reflect our true selves, not out of fear or external expectation, but from a place of wisdom and self-respect. Ultimately, self-awareness is not just a Stoic practice, it's a transformative tool for living a meaningful, fulfilling life, guided by our deepest values rather than the whims of emotion. Thank you for being here with us today. Before we move on to the next topic, I want to take a moment to express my deep gratitude for your presence. Whether you have gone through similar experiences or have insights to share, your voice matters. I would love for you to comment below with the slogan, "Master your mind, master your life," or even share your own thoughts. Your participation through comments like this not only helps us understand what resonates with you, but also motivates us to continue creating content that speaks directly to your experiences. Now, let's dive into our next powerful Stoic lesson. Number 4. Patience. Patience is one of the most revered virtues in Stoicism, a cornerstone for cultivating emotional resilience in the face of life's inevitable hardships. In an era marked by rapid pace and constant demands, it's all too easy to become frustrated when things don't go according to plan or when obstacles arise unexpectedly. The modern world, with its instant gratification culture, often primes us to expect quick results, leading to irritation when progress seems slow or when challenges arise. Yet the Stoics offer a different perspective. Patience isn't about passively waiting for things to change or hoping for circumstances to magically improve. Rather, it is about maintaining composure and rationality, even when things aren't moving as swiftly as we desire. As Seneca wisely stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself," and patience is one of the primary tools we use to master our emotions and reactions. When we practice patience, we don't simply wait for external conditions to change, but we consciously choose how we respond to the inevitable frustrations and obstacles that life throws our way. Instead of reacting impulsively, allowing irritation or frustration to dictate our actions, patience teaches us to pause, think clearly, and make measured decisions. In today's fast-paced world, it's all too easy to let impatience dictate our actions. But the Stoic approach reminds us that it is in the quiet moments of reflection that we find our strength. Patience allows us to resist the temptation to act on immediate emotions and instead choose responses that are thoughtful and aligned with our deeper values. By embracing this virtue, we cultivate the ability to act with greater wisdom and control, making choices that are in our long-term best interest, rather than being driven by fleeting emotions or external pressures. One of the most profound teachings in modern Stoicism is that good things take time. This understanding contrasts sharply with the modern mindset that demands rapid results. The Stoics counsel us to trust the process, to understand that enduring challenges and waiting for the right moment are integral to achieving true success and fulfillment. In our pursuit of goals, whether personal or professional, patience teaches us that rushing toward an outcome often leads to poor decisions, mistakes, and burnout. By practicing patience, we learn to trust the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. As Epictetus put it, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Patience aligns us with this wisdom, helping us appreciate the present moment while remaining steadfast in our efforts. In addition to fostering emotional stability, patience builds resilience. By practicing patience in the face of adversity, we strengthen our ability to endure hardship without becoming overwhelmed by stress or negativity. Life is full of setbacks, and it is through patience that we can weather these storms with calm and grace. The Stoic approach to patience teaches us that emotional stability does not mean a life without challenges, but rather a life in which we are not easily shaken by them. When we learn to embrace the idea that setbacks and delays are a natural part of life, we can face them without losing our composure. In a world that often demands immediate results and continuous progress, this patience allows us to remain grounded, composed, and centered, no matter the obstacles we encounter. Patience, then, is not merely the act of waiting. It is an active, conscious choice to maintain control over our emotional reactions in the face of life's unpredictability. It is the key to emotional mastery, allowing us to build inner peace and resilience while navigating the chaos of modern life. By practicing patience, we learn that we do not need to control every outcome or rush through every moment. Instead, we embrace the journey with calm determination, knowing that all things unfold in their own time. In this way, patience becomes a tool for emotional freedom, offering us the clarity and composure to make thoughtful decisions and endure difficulties without becoming overwhelmed. In modern Stoicism, patience is not just a virtue, it is the foundation of a peaceful and purposeful life. Number 5. Impermanence. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics offer for emotional mastery is the concept of impermanence. It's a simple yet profound idea that everything in life, both the highs and the lows, is temporary. Why does this matter? Because once we fully embrace this truth, we free ourselves from the constant fear of loss, disappointment, and the anxiety of holding on to things that are inevitably going to change. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you worried about something bad happening, only for it to pass and no longer hold the same weight over you? The Stoic secrets to emotional control encourage us to accept that nothing in life is permanent. Whether it's a fleeting moment of joy, a challenging period, or even our relationships and possessions, everything is in flux. When you truly understand this, it's easier to detach from the outcome of any situation. It allows us to let go of the need for constant control, knowing that no matter how things unfold, they will eventually change. Let me tell you a story that brings this lesson to life. Imagine a successful business person who has spent years building a company from the ground up. One day, an unexpected economic downturn forces them to close their doors. In that moment, they might feel devastated. After all, they poured everything into this business. But a Stoic perspective would remind them that the success they once enjoyed, like the business itself, was always temporary. Just as the good times were fleeting, so too are the bad. The business person, understanding the impermanence of everything, wouldn't cling to the loss, but would use it as an opportunity to move forward, to learn, and to adapt. They could channel that energy into something new because they understand that change is part of life. How often do we hold on to things, whether it's an ideal, a job, a relationship, believing they should last forever? And how much pain do we cause ourselves by refusing to let go? The Stoics teach us that the best way to navigate life's challenges is to embrace impermanence. This mindset helps us reduce the grip that fear, disappointment, and anxiety have over us. When we stop expecting permanence in everything, we can live more fully in the present, appreciating what we have without becoming attached to it. What would it feel like if you stopped fearing change and instead welcomed it? What if, instead of resisting the inevitable ups and downs of life, you embrace them as opportunities for growth? That's the beauty of Stoic philosophy. It teaches us that the temporary nature of life is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It fosters resilience and adaptability, two qualities that help us navigate the inevitable changes that come our way. And when we stop trying to control everything, we can experience a deeper sense of peace and acceptance. Next time you face a difficult situation, remind yourself, this too shall pass. By accepting that nothing lasts forever, you free yourself from the emotional burden of trying to cling to what's fleeting and open yourself to a life of greater peace, acceptance, and joy. Impermanence is not a lesson in resignation. It's a call to live more fully, to appreciate the present, and to be at peace with the ebb and flow of life. This Stoic mindset teaches us to be adaptable, to embrace change, and to find strength in knowing that everything, good or bad, is just a passing moment in the grand scheme of life. In that understanding, we discover the true meaning of emotional freedom. Number 6. Rational action. At the heart of Stoicism lies the concept of rational action, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy that plays a critical role in mastering our emotions and leading a life of clarity and control. In a world where emotional reactions often dominate, Stoicism teaches us that it is reason, not impulse, that should govern our actions. In moments of stress, frustration, or emotional upheaval, it's all too easy to let our feelings take the reins, which usually leads to regret and further emotional distress. This knee-jerk reaction, fueled by emotions like anger or fear, can cloud our judgment and create unnecessary turbulence in our lives. Stoicism urges us to step back and practice rational action instead, a process that allows us to approach challenges with a calm mind, rooted in wisdom and clarity. Rational action is not about suppressing our emotions, but about taking the time to reflect on them before reacting, ensuring that our responses are thoughtful, aligned with our values, and driven by logic rather than emotional impulses. By integrating rationality into our daily lives, we can avoid the pitfalls of rash decisions and emotional outbursts that often lead to undesirable consequences. This practice allows us to act from a place of inner strength and wisdom, rather than being governed by the fleeting nature of our emotions. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens." In other words, it's not the external situation that defines our emotional response, but the internal lens through which we view it. Rational action, therefore, is about intentionally choosing to view situations with perspective and thoughtfulness. It's about resisting the temptation to react immediately and instead taking a pause to reflect on the best course of action. In modern life, where distractions and pressures are constant, this Stoic principle of rational action is more relevant than ever. Whether it's a heated discussion with a colleague, a difficult family situation, or a personal setback, the instinctive response is often emotional. But it is in these moments that Stoicism teaches us to exercise control. Before making any decision, we are encouraged to ask ourselves, what is the most rational, thoughtful, and constructive way to respond? Will this action serve my long-term well-being, or is it simply an emotional reaction that will lead to more chaos later on? Rational action allows us to navigate life's challenges with purpose and confidence, knowing that we are making decisions that reflect our true values, not fleeting emotional states. The practice of rational action requires discipline and self-awareness, qualities that the Stoics believed were essential for personal growth and emotional stability. It's easy to be swept away by the current of emotions, but true strength lies in our ability to pause, assess, and choose our response. This approach ensures that our decisions are rooted in wisdom, enabling us to maintain our composure even in the face of adversity. Stoicism teaches us that by mastering our thoughts and responses, we not only preserve our emotional stability, but also improve our relationships and progress toward our personal goals. In this way, rational action becomes a tool not only for emotional mastery, but for building a life of purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. In every situation, whether small or large, taking a step back to act rationally rather than emotionally can lead to better outcomes and a stronger sense of self-control. Modern Stoicism reminds us that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we have the power to control how we respond. Rational action is the key to maintaining that control. By prioritizing reason over emotion, we move through life with greater composure and confidence, remaining grounded in the knowledge that our responses are deliberate and aligned with our higher purpose. This discipline of rationality not only helps us navigate challenges, but also strengthens our emotional resilience, providing us with the stability needed to live a fulfilling, balanced life. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Through rational action, we can ensure that those thoughts remain clear, focused, and in service to our highest good. In conclusion, modern Stoicism offers a powerful framework for mastering our emotions. By embracing Stoic secrets like patience, impermanence, and rational action, we can build emotional resilience to face life's challenges with calm and clarity. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions, but managing them effectively, ensuring we respond with wisdom and inner peace. When we apply these Stoic principles, we create a solid foundation for personal growth and emotional stability. Ultimately, Stoicism empowers us to live with purpose, strengthen relationships, and achieve emotional freedom, guiding us toward a life of resilience and fulfillment. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Secrets. Turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos on how modern Stoicism can transform your life. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.